Hello there, commanders, and welcome to another War Arena news update. And again, we are continuing with me catching up to patch notes that I have missed. I have only missed 3, and this is the second one of them I missed. Patch 4.20, 4.21, and 4.23. I have covered 4.22 somehow. And 4.24 that has, well, by the time this video is uploaded, released in the past. So there we go. We have contents on the patch 4.1. New content: China Tiger Soldiers, Domesticated Tiger, Orc. Medal points balance adjustment, problem fix. That is an actual balance change. Wow. Well, half balance, somewhat. New content: Chinese Tiger Soldier, Domesticated Tiger. Those are tier 4, which you could have gotten by completing a mission. By winning 16 PvP battles. Very cool. I got them. Now it is too late. So if you didn't know that, shame on you. You should have joined our SUNTZU Discord, where we have told people about it in Arena News channel. You can follow that channel and get the updates in any of your channels on Discords that you own for your convenience if you want, or just add yourself a Total War Arena role. And then on every single important update, the Total War Arena role is pinged, and you'll get the news that way. So yes, if there is not a video, there definitely is still a Discord ping, which takes much less effort. So that's why it's always there. And video, sometimes I'm just not able to record for one reason or another, as things are happening in real life. Now, I have an illustration of it, yes. Those who first tried to domesticate a wild southern tiger had great success. Fighting with tigers is basically the only thing in the story, and conscious enemies turn their heads and run away when they see them. As for the hard-headed guys, they not only have to fight the tiger, but also the beast trainer who is skilled in archery behind the tiger. Arms: Tiger Soldiers. Camp: China. Name: Domesticated Tiger. Grade: 4. Skill: Release: Concentrated Firepower. So yes, this is the tier 4 tiger unit. You can release the tigers just like you release the dogs, and you can use focus fire because the handlers are archers, unlike melee fighters in the barbarian tree that use dogs. So the playstyle is quite different. Problem is, well, range units suck, and also the tigers suck compared to dogs. Well, that's kind of obvious. Dogs always beat cats. So same is the case here. They do not have an ability that allows them to avoid phalanx. So if you launch them against spike phalanx, they're gonna get wrecked. Their melee stats are, I think, also much lower. I haven't actually compared those melee stats, but I play dogs, I play tigers, and I can just tell you, tigers perform really, really, really badly. Those archers are also quite weaker because there's only 45 of them per unit instead of 60 as for regular ranged units. So whenever they get in a range duel against another archer player, they get wrecked. You can launch the tigers against them, and if they get to those archers, sure, that's great. But usually there's something in the path of those tigers that they would catch aggro on, like melee infantry that's defending the enemy ranged units, and then those tigers don't really perform well against those. If you want to use them as defense against cavalry that is approaching, that also doesn't work. They just get wrecked by charges. You can have caltrops, you can drop the caltrops, but cavalry just runs over the caltrops, runs over the tigers, gets to you. The tigers suck. They absolutely suck. And that's on tier 4, when there's not that many things that can get you effectively, let's say. On tier 8, I do not own the tier 8 myself, but I have a friend in SUNTZU who does, and yeah, he agrees. The tier 8 sucks even more than tier 4. They have some kind of funny ability that's somewhat good, but that is not enough to compensate for everything else. Anyway, that's the Orc Except there are no tigers in here. I think they just got the wrong illustration. Just straight up wrong illustration. Because the tier 8 tigers, well, they're the same as tier 4. They also shoot with bows, not crossbows as shown in here. And they do have tigers next to them, as these don't. So yes, people have used animals in wars for a long time. Horses pull chariots for cavalry to use as mounts. War dogs follow orders anytime to knock down all targets. And if you deal with the beast and a tricky beast trainer behind it at the same time, a fierce battle is inevitable. If this beast is still a tiger that combines courage, strength and brutality, it is definitely a nightmare. Except it isn't, because it's extremely weak and extremely easy to beat. So yeah, it isn't. When you see that in the enemy team, it's like, ha, easy victory right here. They really cannot do anything. They don't have the damage that rangers would need. The tigers don't have the damage as well. They don't have any utility. They just don't have anything really that would be useful. At least with dogs. Even just forget about the dogs themselves, just the handlers, the fact that they're melee, they can contest a point, for example. Rangers cannot do it. I mean, they can, but they just got obliterated very quickly, and that they're no longer contesting the point. Yeah, they're also very vulnerable to charges and enemy missiles, and if they die, the tigers die as well. So yeah, just don't get them. They are extremely weak. I guess I'll be putting out a premium review of them at some point in the future, so we can see how bad they are and the gimmick that they have. Yeah, just don't waste the time on watching that video, I guess, and neither buying them. So yeah, skill, freed, powerful shooting, beast assault. Yeah, the beast assault I think is the gimmick, but I don't remember exactly what it does, but it's like a funny thing. And then we have an actual balance change. Medal points balance adjustment. So for ambushing, that is a surprising flank, you get 3 victory points instead of 1, or tickets. For raid, I think that would be a nuke. Yeah, so for nuking you get 2 points instead of 1 as before. Destroy, that would probably be demolish. So destroy an artillery piece. Also gives you 2 points instead of 1. Kind of bullshit. Routing gives you 4 points instead of 2. That's good. Annihilation, I think that is killing a commander, so that gives you 3 points instead of 2. Rescue, so save, making an ally unit not rout, so 3 points gives you 5. And then strike, which is elimination, which is killing an enemy unit, it gives you 5. Good changes, but I would still change them further. I think killing the units need to be worth more, maybe even 10 points. Something like that. It needs to be significantly more than everything else, because it should be more important than everything else. Especially since killing units is such a, say, delicate... what's the word for it? Volatile thing. You know, because so many advantages and disadvantages, so many things that you need to take into consideration, even if you want to kill a unit, right? And when there are more benefits for not killing a unit over killing a unit, I think that's kind of wrong. So you should give more compensation, more rewards for killing enemy units, or more incentive to kill enemy units. Because imagine a situation where you're attacking an enemy point. I know, right? It's so rare. And you have an enemy that walked forward, and you fought him in the middle of the battlefield, like in between your point A and their point D. So you go there, and you kill him entirely, all 3 units. And then you go up to his point, and then after 30 seconds, if he didn't level up, he respawned. And then your units are at half strength, his units are at full strength. And then you're fucked. So, having not killed him, like just spare 1 soldier, literally just 1 soldier out of 300 if he was melee infantry. And then he needs to go and heal, which can be disrupted, or he needs to teleport back to the base, which is further away from his point. You know, he will not lose XP for that unit. You will not get the points, but you'll have 3 units fewer fighting and defending his point that you can take. And that is still the major contributor to the victory points. I think the most points I've seen earned by one team was like around 700. It can go maybe up to 1000 if it's like really, really fierce battle. I don't know. I really haven't looked at it that much. But like 700 to 1000 is quite an extreme spectrum. Usually it's less. Maybe around 500. Really depends on how long the battle is, right? And how equal it is. So yeah, usually you probably see like 500 to 600 points gained, which means that still 3000 points need to be earned through capture points. So it's still a major contributor, and it's still the main, by far, objective of the game. Increasing points received by killing enemy units from 5 to 10 wouldn't change that much, but it would definitely help, and it would be more balanced. And it is a balance adjustment after all. So I think this thing needs to be further adjusted. The destroy thing, I think it's quite bullshit. Keep it at 1 or even at 0, because it's very situational and it's just kind of imbalanced, the fact that you can gain points for that. And there's another few things that I would like to address here, but I won't, because it is quite broken and I don't want people to just abuse it as a common knowledge. Yeah, I guess we'll leave that for tournaments, right? Then we have problem fix. Further fix the problem that the wrong user robot player was displayed as MVP part of the... Wait a second. Haven't I read that? Was that in patch 4.20? It was in patch 4.20. I've already closed the tab. But it's exactly as patch 4.20. They just copied it over because they didn't fix it then, and they didn't fix it now because it's still a bug. So yeah, I guess it will be the new meme after consumables will now replenish correctly. They still sometimes do not. Sometimes you buy consumables, you click the replenish automatically, and they still don't replenish automatically. Very rarely, but it still happens. And yeah, it has been in patch notes like 10 times. Let's try to fix that one thing 10 times and they still haven't fixed it. But yeah, and then you have open event for a limited time. Well, that time has already passed. But if you logged in for 5 days in total between... I have no idea. Between these, maybe it's like what? Thursday or of 8th month, so 1st of August and 5th of August? Is that what it is? Was that patch in August? It was, but on 16th, so what the fuck? Yeah, I don't know. One thing is Chinese calendar, right? They have New Year in February, so I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't matter now. But you logged in for 5 days in total and you got some nice bonuses. 400 gold, premium account, 3,000 free experience, silver, nobody cares about, but 25,000, there we go. So I guess that's it for the patch 4.21. Not much, but there is an actual balance change in here. Again, somewhat of a balance change. What I mean by a balance change, I would like to see a commander or a unit being nerfed or buffed. But it is game mode adjustment, more than a balance adjustment. But, well, it is the balance of the game mode itself. So it is somewhat of a balance adjustment. And also, as I said before, certain units are more efficient at gaining those points. For example, certain units are better at nuking other units and getting points for nukes. Some units are better at routing, etc, etc, right? Like Scipio is better at routing, or cavalry in general is better at routing than ranged units. And infantry are also better at routing. And they're better at killing. But then ranged units are better at nuking, sometimes. Very sometimes. But there's that. So those are the patch notes for 4.21, and we still have 4.23 to catch up on. But if you're catching up, yourself at some point in the future, 4.22 lies ahead of you. And don't worry, I'll make it out in the playlist. It is like chronologically as the patches were released, and not as the videos were released. So no worries there. For your convenience, go and check out the playlist if you aren't watching from there. Just very convenient. You don't have to look up in YouTube search or in recommended videos in the bottom right corner. But yeah. Until then, I guess, whatever 10 would be, I will see you on Arena's Battlefields, Commanders.